Hi everyone. Welcome to my channel, Turkish Spotlight Secrets. All the details are in this video. If you enjoy it, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. You can support me even more by clicking the join button below. Thank you, and let's dive in. For years, the poise Alina boss carried in front of the cameras felt untouched by the chaos of show business. Her soft-spoken grace, that delicate distance she kept between her private world and the set, gave her an almost weightless presence. But under the glare of studio lights, the composure that had always framed her began to ripple. What was planned as a calm conversation about upcoming projects turned into something far more vulnerable. In a space usually reserved for scripted laughs and carefully chosen words, Alina let down the walls and allowed the tremor behind her smile to be seen. It happened the moment the host, almost casually, uttered a name that has lived for years in the hearts of fans, Alp Navras. The air shifted. The boundaries between on-screen fiction and off-screen reality blurred, and what should have been an easy chat about roles and shooting schedules became a confession. Alina's voice slid into a fragile register. "I keep telling myself to move forward," she murmured, searching the floor for strength, "but the city keeps bringing him back to me." A melody in a cafe, the corner of a street we passed 100 times, even the smell of rain on hot pavement. It's as if everything around me is gently saying his name. Not a trace of resentment crossed her face, only the recognition that some loves don't fade in a straight line, they ebb and return like a tide. The set fell silent in reverence, as if the walls themselves knew to step back. Alina, always seen as a pillar of balance, released a line that flashed across timelines within minutes: "People think a strong woman never cries. Real strength isn't pretending you don't break. It's the choice to stand up again, even when the cracks still sting." The internet caught fire. Translations popped up in every language, clips were trimmed and shared, and the comments became a tapestry of empathy. From Istanbul's old neighborhoods to the nightlife of Madrid, from Rome's rooftops to the breath of Buenos Aires, the reaction was the same: understanding. "You don't owe anyone proof that you're okay," one message read. "Sometimes survival is just learning how to breathe after an invisible fall." Fans flooded feeds with memories. Photos from sets where they worked side by side. Red carpet moments that looked like unguarded glimpses into something private. Interviews where an inside joke ran between them like a secret path. For so many, their bond was not a headline but a promise that romance could be tender and true. And so, when it fractured, it felt like a collective bruise. Sources close to Alina, people who have watched her pick up her life with quiet dignity, confirmed what her trembling voice had already made clear. The separation carved a silence into her days that neither work nor time can neatly stitch up. Even when she glows in a magazine spread, even when she holds herself with elegant calm on the press line, a softness in her gaze tells you there is someone missing in that frame. Those who truly know her insist that Alina never stopped loving Alp. She doesn't declare it noisily. She wouldn't. She carries it with the consideration of someone who honors what they shared. So when the interviewer pressed, asking if there was any bitterness, she breathed in, then answered the way she lives, measured and kind. "Alp is a meaningful chapter in my life," she said. "I won't diminish that just to make a headline. We aren't together, but I want him to find peace in every step." Disarming, in its softness. In a world that rewards the loudest take, she chose gentleness again. Then came the line that lingered in the room like a candle flame refusing to go out: "Some loves don't finish, they shift into another shape." It hovered there, a thread stretched between past and possibility, vibrating with what was and what maybe still exists, somewhere, quiet. Naturally, the spotlight pivoted to Alp Navras. Reporters refreshed his profiles, fans waited for a caption, a sign, a phrase to anchor their swirling hopes. But he stayed still. He chose quiet. People close to him say he watched the interview alone, the screen's light reflecting in his eyes, and when it ended he didn't reach for the phone, didn't run to post, he just sat there, letting Alina's words settle into him like slow rain. A friend, carefully, offered an explanation: "Alp's silence isn't distance. It's a form of care." He knows that saying too much right now could reopen what they've worked hard to close gently. Sometimes guarding the past is a kinder act than reliving it aloud. In a time where attention is a currency, that restraint felt rare, a reminder that silence can be its own language of love. Since then, Alina has poured herself into her work. Scripts arrived like lifelines. The first day back on set, she walked through corridors washed in fluorescent light and found shelter in the clockwork of production, wardrobe fittings, scene breakdowns, the soft shuffle of crew changing lenses. But memory is persistent. A song will start playing while they're adjusting the lights, she admitted off camera, and a door I thought I locked opens a crack. Her colleagues, respectful, have noticed how she sometimes takes a moment alone between takes, hands resting on her knees, breath steadying, before stepping back under the lamps with that familiar composure. No one asks. They don't need to. Online, every image she posts is read like a coded letter. A pale morning sky. A line from a poem about the weight of quiet. A sunset framed by the edge of a balcony. The audience deciphers and debates. Some hold on to the hope of reunion. Others wish only for peace to find her, even if it arrives slowly. Meanwhile, Alp keeps to his rhythms with a discipline that has always defined him. He shared a single, spare sentence, and it was enough to ignite a forest of theories. Not every route is chosen, some are walked with reverence. And in a photo, nearly overlooked, a detail caught the eye of devoted followers: a clock frozen at 7:08 p.m. Was it an accident? A tender signal? No one can say. But the image nursed a nostalgia people were already breathing, turning it into a collective hush. Among those who followed them closely, a phrase has started to circulate, landing somewhere between wisdom and premonition: they'll cross paths again when it no longer aches. It doesn't promise soon, it doesn't threaten never. It simply trusts time to sand down the edges. They continue with their separate days. She reads scripts past midnight, pencil marks running like constellations in the margins. Sometimes she steps onto the balcony, letting the city hum cradle her thoughts. He trains, studies, and builds careful plans for the future with the same careful hands he brings to a role. Neither of them tries to seal the quiet with spectacle. Maybe that's why, when people remember them together, spontaneous laughter, shared glances that said more than dialogue, an ease that no director can invent, it stings. Real connections don't unravel neatly. They loosen, knot, and loosen again. Before the cameras powered down, Alina turned to the audience, her audience, the ones who held her through the storm. "Your messages kept me steady on the hardest days," she said, voice polished by sincerity, not performance. "I don't need to blame anyone, and I don't want to rewrite the past to make it easier to carry. Growth can be quiet. Sometimes it happens in the pauses." Then she offered a final truth, simple but unshakable: I love him. In some corner of my life, I always will. And I hope he finds serenity. Nothing theatrical. Just final, tender weight. The echo of that interview hasn't faded. It moves through feeds and conversations like a soft refrain you find yourself humming without meaning to. It wasn't simply a confession, it was a lesson in grace under the heaviest feeling. Maybe the story worth telling isn't only the breakup itself, but how they both chose to hold it, carefully, respectfully, like something that still deserves warmth. In an era that tries to make everything louder, Alina Boz and Alp Navras showed that elegance can live inside ache. That tears are not defeat, they are proof of where the heart has been. And you, watching on Turkish Spotlight Secrets, do you think fate will ease their paths back toward each other? Do you hear an unspoken "I still care" living in Alp's silence? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, where we follow the most intense and tender turns in Turkish entertainment. Like and share this video, and if you'd like to support our work, click the join button. Your support helps us bring you the stories that move entire worlds with a whisper. Because some stories don't have to shout to last. And some loves, like Alina and Alp's, learn to breathe in silence, steady as a sigh. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.